Hey y'all, what's up? Thank you guys so much for coming back to Conversations with Teresa, where we have real talk about work-life balance, which is really just called life, right? Confidence and communication. We are going to have these real conversations in order to learn from each other and to elevate each other in all of these areas in life. Today is a very special day. Conversations with Teresa has our very first guest, and I am super excited to have her for many reasons that you'll be able to see in just a few minutes. Here we go. Hey, Candace.
Hello, Teresa.
We have right here, live and in full effect, the only Candace Burns, one of the most influential and impactful directors in workforce development in the Boston area. Candace, yay! Hi, it's Candace. You know, I'm so excited. I am so excited. When literally you were one of the first people, I was just like, I got to seek out Candace. I got to figure out how she's going to be here. And the fact that you said that you would be one of the first guests, I am thrilled to death. So anyway, I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction, if that's okay. I'm going to, if you're feeling shy, let me put you on a little bit more of a shy note just in a second. All right.
Okay. All right. But before we get into it, listen, I want to say congratulations to you. This is a moment. And I am just so excited that you are in this space doing your thing, doing what you do so wonderfully. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to act all serious right now, and not really, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a bio on you. All right. So for over 30 years, Candace has worked in academic medicine with a focus on increasing access and opportunity to careers in healthcare, primarily focusing in historically marginalized communities and populations underrepresented in medicine. In 2007, Candace began her tenure at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute as the Director of Inclusion and Workforce Development, and where she has been killing the game. Candace, welcome to Conversations with Teresa, and giving me, again, the honor of having you as my very first guest. Candace, can you tell us in your own words what you do for your career at Dana-Farber, and then why you chose to invest so much time and energy into this?
Thank you so much again for this opportunity to just be in your presence, because we have known each other. We go way back in this work of workforce development, youth development in particular. So
yes.
The Office of Workforce Development at Dana-Farber, we are a part of human resources, and we're part of the greater inclusion, diversity, and equity efforts of the Institute. The work that we do specifically is really about, as you talked about, increasing access and reducing barriers to careers in healthcare, primarily working in historically marginalized communities and those communities underrepresented in medicine. So we have initiatives that serve both young people. We work in the Boston Public Schools, schools that are within a mile from our Longwood campus, and then all the way through adults, unemployed and underemployed adults, again, creating those pipelines to careers in healthcare. My career in healthcare started, over 30 years ago, and I've been able to grow and develop and want to bring these opportunities to those individuals from the communities I came up in and I grew up in.
And speaking of communities that you grew up in, Dorchester.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Norfolk
Right?
Street.
There you go. I
Yeah,
listen, I'm in the Fields Corner area. This is, it's Dorchester,
that's it.
ride or die, right? So
Yeah.
it is absolutely amazing to be able to have you here. So I wanted to definitely mention that, you know, we got that in common together.
Yeah.
Um, but not only are you from Dorchester, but I think about your two sisters, Karen and Gemma. And then also I had to mention mom and dad, and Thelma Burns,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
the late Thelma Burns, but the late and great Thelma Burns. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Yeah.
your mama did some things here in Boston. All right, she was a boss,
Yeah.
right? She was
Yes. Yes.
legit a boss. I
I'm
just
telling
I
you.
gotta I gotta go down just a couple of things, a couple of noteworthy things about your mom. So first of all, longtime community activist, educator, advocate, and volunteer in the Boston area and beyond. Well loved mentor and leader in Boston's Black community.
Mhm.
Two-time cancer survivor. What?
Mhm.
All right. There
Mhm.
is some
Yeah.
strength in that. She served on ABCD's development board
Mhm.
of directors for what, 35 years? I'm like, are you
I know.
kidding me?
Yeah.
And then she was like board chair a couple of times, vice chair, committee chair. She was chair of a few different things. Um,
Mhm.
and then also, was it the Dorchester Neighborhood Service Board,
Mhm.
ECD Dorchester Neighborhood Service Center Board,
Yes.
right? For about
Yes.
15 years, she did that. So,
Yeah.
but one of the things that I know her best for, because my husband was a product of her work, she served on as director of the METCO program for Belmont Public Schools,
That's
and
right.
Carl graduated from Belmont High. So,
Yeah.
woo woo, go ahead, Belmont.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so she helped countless Black and Brown students to receive the quality of education that wasn't easily accessed here in our
Yeah.
neighborhood. So I thank your mom so much for all that she did, and I see why you're so stellar.
Oh,
Some strong genes that came from there. So
Teresa,
excellent.
thank you so much for elevating. She is a powerhouse. She is has made her footprint in the city and beyond, and her legacy continues to live through all of us. And you mentioned Belmont, but I got to give her Cohasset students a shout out too. She did 10 years in Cohasset prior to moving over to Belmont. So
Oh,
thank
okay.
you so much for
Excellent. And there is a building named after her right on Warren Street by Grove Hall. So ABCD,
that.
with all the work that she did there, in honor of her, they named a building after her. So the old Sky Cap,
See? Yes,
right?
indeed. Yes, yes, indeed. My mom used to say, "My building, my building." We're like, "Okay, mom, yeah, it's named after you, but it's
It
ABCD's building."
is.
But they're doing some amazing things in that space. Yes,
Yes, absolutely.
thank you.
Well, Candace, we have so much that we can learn from you. I am confident of that. And so the three areas that we talk about here, workforce development, we will talk about that, but work-life balance, we talk about confidence, and we talk about communication. And I'm sure that we can learn so much from you in all of these areas. I will definitely ask you about all of these areas, but I really want to be able to focus on the importance of effective communication, especially from your point of view as a director. You see so much a kind of an overall picture, and so I really want to give people that point of view uh, in this episode. So let's talk
Yeah.
about a term that's widely used in society: this work-life balance. What are
Mm.
your thoughts on the concept of work-life balance? What does it
Oh,
mean to you?
yes. So, this whole idea of work-life balance and especially being someone that's part of an HR community as well, is used all the time. And one that, you know, post-pandemic with now having hybrid work schedules, and people working a lot from home, that
Hmm.
line gets blurred. So I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you that, right? Right? We can start in our pajamas, and then our going out clothes, and still at home, but producing, and it's like, ooh,
Yep.
where do those, how do you draw the line? So work-life balance is going to be defined differently
Yeah,
for everyone. Really,
absolutely.
I really strongly believe that. So my life balance is not going to look the same as your work life balance. So you have got to figure out what works for you.
Hmm.
I'm, in the type of work that I do, it's not necessarily fits into the confines of a 9 to 5 type of
Right.
role, right?
Right.
There are times when we are doing things in the evening because our outreach is to community, and community is, it is not just 9 to 5. If
No,
anything,
not at
it
all.
pops off after 5. That's when things
Exactly.
are going on, and we want to be in those spaces and places with our
Right.
community.
Right.
Um, so it really is being intentional. You got to be intentional. You got to
Right.
define it for yourself, and it's got to be something that lands you in a space of, being okay and making sure that you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of family, and you're getting done what needs to get done. And again,
Exactly.
it's not going to look the same for everyone,
Exactly. Exactly. Do
right?
you have I don't know, a tip or something? Let's say, I mean, working in the healthcare field,
Mm,
there are some professions there that absolutely require very long hours at work,
yeah.
physically at work. Is there anything, any light that you can share for someone who has that challenge of working long hours, but would like to have some type of life balance? And I call it life balance because, work is only a part of us, right?
Right,
It's just
right.
a part of us, but life is the whole thing.
That's
So
right.
is there anything that you can share that would help someone with those long hours, really try to achieve that?
Those long hours, and I think of our caregivers, that really,
Right.
they've got to be in it, and there's so many others, administrators as well, and so that intentionality around, getting up, making sure you take those breaks, whether they're assigned breaks or unassigned breaks, you've got to be sure to be able to step away. I am a firm believer in just taking time to just breathe. I got the Apple Watch to sometimes remind me to say, okay, just
Right.
breathe, just breathe. And we've got to be intentional
Right.
about doing those things. And
Absolutely.
not everyone, you're not always going to have someone to remind you to do it. You've got
Hmm.
to do it for yourself. And
That's
and
right.
the other is, and this we'll get into talking about communication, but it's important to communicate. What do you need from your colleagues and or your manager to provide you with that balance that you
Absolutely.
are looking for. Now,
Right.
again, remember, if you applied for the job and got the job that requires you to work a 16-hour shift, then that's, hey, that's what
You
you
got to
signed
do
up
it.
for. However, if
Right.
you're working 16-hour shifts and you only signed up for a 16-hour shift, and you only signed up for a job that's supposed to be, maybe 10 hours or 8 to 10 hours, then yeah, you might need to have a conversation
That's a
and
great point.
communicate.
That's a
Yeah,
great point.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Now here's the ultimate question. Have you made it? Have you arrived at this work-life balance sphere? And if you have, what does it look like for you?
Have I arrived? I'm trying. You know what? And so I'm not going to beat myself up, and I'm not going to immediately say no. And I'm saying
Mhm.
I'm continuing to work at it, right?
Right.
By practicing what I'm sharing with you all, the breathing, the communicating,
Mhm.
being vulnerable, being able to say to sometimes my team, like, I got to take a break. I'm
Yes.
feeling like I'm a little off balance here. A little
Right.
not. So I'm gonna step back a little bit. And I'm we're talking maybe it's a day or whatever, but then
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump right back into it because I love the work that I do, and
that's
that helps with work life balance is also loving what you do.
that
You
is a
know,
great point. You're
yeah,
absolutely right. You're
yeah.
absolutely right. And if you don't love what you do,
Mm.
you might want to go find it. I'm just
Thank
saying.
you, Teresa. Is it
I'm
okay?
just saying.
Exactly.
Hence what I'm
Exactly.
doing now.
There you
What?
go. I'm glad you said it. I'm like, this girl is following her passion. And here we are in
Right.
conversations with Teresa. I love
Yes.
it.
Yes. I
Yeah,
love it. I
let's
love it.
go.
All right. Don't,
Love it.
girl, don't get me started. All right. So, all right. Thank you so much for that. So let's talk a little bit about confidence at the
Yeah.
workplace or just in general. You know, um, we've been talking about again the imposter syndrome. People are
Mm.
just kind of like, I'm not really sure. Can I do this? What do people think? Or stuff like that. Have you seen any like instances or maybe experience for yourself this imposter syndrome?
It is really let me tell you, it is real. And it is one that, yes, in my work I often see. So there's a situation. Oftentimes in my role, I am doing some career coaching, career
Hmm.
advising. And so there are individuals that are going after roles and don't necessarily and are well positioned for to be in that role
Hmm.
and are coming to the table with with that lack of confidence, right?
Hmm.
And with an inability to talk about the breadth and depth of knowledge and experience that they are bringing to the table. And so
Hmm.
in one situation, I had a situation where, you know, actually it was after the fact where a gentleman went for a role and when then he called me and said, "I didn't get the role." And I happened to know the manager, called the manager, and she said, "Candace, he did not present well."
Hmm.
So I met with this gentleman probably, a half hour, 45 minutes. And most of the time, our conversation wasn't necessarily spent on what he needs to do in the interview. It was still feeding him and pouring into him why he is so deserving of this
Yes.
opportunity.
Yeah.
I had watched him be a security person in our building, and he had the best customer service skills,
Okay.
presented well, always willing to help people, and there was no reason why he could not perform in this job. And so he walked out of my office. I called the manager. I said, "Would you be willing to do a do over?" Now, this is very unusual. And she said,
Okay.
"Candace, I know you." And sure, I'll interview him again.
Nice.
Called me back the next day and she says, it was like another person that was sitting in front of me.
That's
So
it.
it really is it was, I think, a combination of him building his confidence,
Hmm.
um, and then also preparing, because I said you've got to prepare.
Right.
When you have that when you prepare,
Yes.
then it gives you another level of confidence to
It
go in and
does.
do what you need to do and get it done. Right?
That's it. That's it. When you know the work, it's
Yeah.
kind of like I used to tell, when people didn't have confidence, I'll ask them questions like, what's 2 plus 2? 4, what color shirt you have on. And I'm like, you see how fast you understand those questions? You can answer that. That's
Yeah.
how skilled you need to be in your work or in your interviewing skills or whatever, because it does when you are so sure it gives you the confidence when you're not questioning. It gives
Exactly.
you the confidence to move forward. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Great insight, great insight. And I love the fact that you were talking about just, wanting to do over, but that sometimes we do need a little bit more pouring into, and we do need to be reminded how great we are. We do, as people,
Yes,
we're pretty fantastic people, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. And we need to
We
be
are.
doing that in the workplace and out of the workplace, you
Right.
know?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, we
So
got to build each other up. We really do,
that's
and
it.
not tear each other down for
There you
sure.
go. I love
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
that. Thanks so much. And then finally, just about communication, and better yet, effective communication. And I find it so amazing that every day we communicate all day long.
Yes.
And somehow we have not figured out how to get it right. Just as a people, right? We do not
Uh-huh.
get it right. So, um,
Yeah.
so in your line of work or just in general, what have you found to be one of the greatest communication challenges among, just among the folks that you have worked with or coworkers or just what you've seen in the workplace in general?
People don't always listen. They're thinking about a response
Yes.
to what they think the person is saying rather
Mm,
than really being in that moment,
yep,
um, and really listening to what the other person is saying, whether
you
you
are
agree,
absolutely
disagree,
right.
or not, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, and no, Lord knows I have been guilty of, I've been guilty of that. You sit in these meetings and you got a point you want to make, and gosh, you can't even, yeah, you're not even listening to what a person is saying, and they could be agreeing with you because you're just so ready to make your point. you know,
Exactly.
so yeah, so it really is, um, some of the biggest challenges in the workplace around communication is people just really
Right.
being able to listen to one another. And some of the things you may do is, are you saying this? Parroting back what someone has said,
Mhm.
active listening, as we call it. So if you
Exactly.
can be sure that you're hearing, what you think you're hearing, or making sure that you're clear in
Mhm.
in sort of what you think you're hearing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, you're
yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
You are going in to,
Mhm.
like, my question number 3. You done bypassed a few other things that I had. You just answered it all right there. But if there were, 3 things that you wanted to leave with the audience, 3 principles for effective communication. You've already mentioned,
Uh,
listening. What are
yeah.
2 other things that you think you could, enlighten us on how to
You
be effective communicators?
I put it in 3 Ps: preparation, practice, and patience. And so that whole listening is
Mhm.
really being, that's the patience part. It
Right.
is, and then, really thinking about being prepared around sort of what you want to say or how you want to say it. And I guess that really applies when you're trying to prepare for an interview or
Right.
prepare, so that you're going to be able to communicate something
Yes.
about yourself or a certain topic. And it's okay to, to practice to ask for help or ask for feedback. I am so thankful. I've got sisters that we are constantly, bouncing ideas off of each other. Or does this sound okay? Or what do you think of this? Or how should I approach that?
Right.
That's all part of the practice and preparation. And we've got to do more of that. It takes a little bit of being vulnerable, you
Mhm.
know, and but showing vulnerability is really showing a sign of strength. When you can open yourself up to others to get that kind of feedback,
Yes.
the possibilities are endless.
You are I tell you, I think that you're on the other side reading my script. Like you just said everything that I was going to say. But you're absolutely right. I love the 3 Ps. It makes so much sense. And that's just where we're at. Sometimes we're so afraid. Maybe
Mhm.
it's our pride that won't allow us to ask the questions. Um, and it's just we don't know. I often think about being in a situation where I was there was a person who I admired. I admired their work. And I am like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is amazing. And then they came back to me and they were like, yeah, but I can't do what you do because you're amazing and you're amazing. And I realized that I don't need to be her amazing. right? Because she's doing that. I don't need all that. My amazing is enough because
Mm,
we're putting it all in the pot. We're putting it all in the pot, right? And we
e-
stir up the pot and we do something great. So
Exactly.
you're absolutely
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. We are all unique human beings with gifts, our own individual unique gifts, for sure.
Absolutely.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
Candace, is there anything else that you would like to add that I haven't mentioned or I haven't asked or anything?
Oh gosh.
You've given
Joe,
us a lot.
you have covered it. I was having a conversation and someone, shared with me these thoughts and they said, your thoughts translate into your words, right?
Mhm.
Your words are your deeds. That's the things that you're gonna do, right? And your deeds are your character, right?
Mm.
And so it
Wow.
starts with a thought,
Yes.
right? That ultimately translates into who you are.
That
So
is so
as
right.
we think about this space of work-life balance, of confidence, of communication, just know it all starts with thoughts. And we gotta pour positive thoughts into ourselves.
Me too.
We really, really do, and it shapes who we are. Yeah,
Boom. Drop the mic.
yeah. It's so crazy.
Candace, thank you so much for all your words of wisdom and your insight. And again, often, again, we want to grow in these areas, but sometimes we're afraid to. Sometimes it's the pride. Sometimes it's the lack of confidence. It's all of
Yeah,
that stuff. But
yeah,
we all do want to grow in these areas. So thank you so much for
absolutely.
everything that you shared.
Ah,
And for the audience, I hope that this Conversations with Teresa episode featuring Candace has been helpful for you. If so, don't be shy in your comments and shares. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. There's a subscribe button somewhere around here. I don't know where, but it's somewhere here. Go ahead and click that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I look forward to sharing the space with you again next week. Same time, same place. Thank you guys so much. Candace, again, thank you so much for being here.
thank
This is
you.
amazing.
All right.
Have an amazing night, and we will see you next week. Peace
Bye,
out.
everyone.